My phone is probably going to die in the middle of recording, but fuck it. I feel like speaking out loud to myself now. I was going to pull a reading today because the new moon and the eclipse and all of this stuff, and it's the right time for it, right? And I just don't feel like it. Just this past week, I guess 2 weeks, it's kind of been a little longer. I don't know. I just don't feel it. I just don't feel the same interest. I'm interested in the ascension of humanity, but that's happening. That's taking place quite obviously, and I don't know, the other stuff, I just don't feel like I really care at this moment in time. I'm not even really interested in watching other tarot videos. And I didn't ever watch, well, ever. There was a time when I watched all of them. All of them. And then it was mostly, Steve's Love Tarot, and I gotta give it to that guy. He is dedicated. He's been following the soulmate cycle for years, doing this shit. Multiple readings a week, sometimes multiple a day. And it is interesting. It's fascinating stuff. I don't care the same way that I did, and I haven't even felt really compelled to watch his videos recently. I just haven't felt compelled to do much of anything, to be honest. I've felt like just sitting still. Like just sitting in silence most of the time. Everything just feels kind of hollow and insignificant. That's the word. Meaningless, not quite it. Just insignificant, irrelevant, immaterial. And I get the notion that I'm just meant to sit with this feeling. There is nothing to do. There is nothing to accomplish. There's nothing to achieve. There's nothing to work on or get done. There's nothing to be other than being. I'm just being honest. This is what is felt right now. And there's a lot of feeling. It's not just a sort of numb detachment. Oh, there's a lot of feeling. I cried so much today, my eyes are actually burning right now. They are tired from crying. And that felt good. That just feels like the place to be. It feels like this is what is here right now. It is this hollowness. It is this void. It's like this open pit. And I can hear the echoes ringing in it. And they just keep going. And I don't feel afraid. I just don't really feel much of anything. It's like there's this stillness. It's hard to even describe. It's like I can see things moving around me, but the immediate space, there's this buffer zone. It's like there is this bubble of silence. And it's the loudest thing. And the space, the emptiness. I mean, there's an awareness that the emptiness itself is present. It is, in fact, something, even though that something, in effect, is nothing. It is the presence of space, of spaciousness. And it doesn't feel dead. It doesn't feel devoid of life. There is very much life here, but it is all still. It's all quiet. It is the feeling of being the only person in a snow-covered forest, stepping out into a clearing, and everything is blanketed in white, and it's all just still and silent. And the only sound, the loudest sound, is your own breathing. You can hear your heartbeat. You can see the breath condensing in the air. And there's nothing else. That's the feeling. It is, in a way, peaceful and serene. But there's definitely a heaviness to it. There is a mournfulness. There's an awareness that something necessary is taking place. That this is important. This isolation, this hibernation, this contraction, this freezing over, that this period of a natural drawing inwards, a natural drawing away from, into the self, into the depths of this, into the dark, into the cave, that this part is so important, that there's nothing wrong with this. This is the natural process. Trust this, allow this receding. This is the ebb. And it is every bit as critical and as beautiful as any portion of the flow. But just not to fight it, not to push against it, not to try to change it, to just be here, stay here in this retracted quiet kind of space. It's not diminished just because it's smaller and less active or wholly inactive. It has great power in its allowance of this. It's like a flower bud closing, or even withering up and dying altogether. It is that piece falling off, and it's just the shriveled sort of base that remains. I don't know. I never know anything. But I really don't know anything right now. And that feels more than just okay. That feels right. It doesn't feel wrong to be in this state of isolation where I don't even really want to be around people. It's nothing against people. I just feel like being alone. I feel like feeling this way. Is there sadness? Absolutely. Is there heaviness? Is there emptiness? Numbness? Periods of pain? Absolutely. And I have this desire to feel all of it, to not let it be interrupted by anything, to not try to pry myself out of this shell, to let it kind of close over. There is this satisfaction in it. There is this peace. There's this deep feeling that no, this is right. This is a part of the process. This is meant to be this way. We're not meant to try to shake it off all the time, especially not at this time. We're not meant to try to just jump back in and break out of it and go back into everything the way that it was. No, this period is important, and it's important to be exactly as it is. The solitude, the quiet, the stillness, the feeling of sort of hibernating, of again turning deeply within and really just being, really not doing anything, just quietly existing, making very few movements. The water itself very still, very few ripples. The feeling of something slowing to a trickle as it is beginning to freeze over. That's just what it is. And it's not wrong. And it is allowed. And it is what's happening presently. And I don't know anything about what the future holds, certainly. I don't know if I will feel like pulling readings at any particular point. I suspect I will. I do very much enjoy reading for other people, and I had a wonderful opportunity to do that on Friday, which I'm extremely grateful for. And that felt significant. That felt meaningful. Getting to meet these people brought in by serendipity, and to sit down and have a soul level conversation with them. One about emotion and energy and all of the things that are being felt by the collective presently. That felt important. That felt right, too. But now it's just this period of withdrawal, of bringing everything back in, really extending nothing, reaching out not at all, just contracting into the self and letting it be this inhale, this slow, continuous inhalation. Just listening to the silence. It feels like the right thing to do. I could just sit here and listen to it and have for hours. And I am going to let myself do that. I still like hearing myself speak aloud sometimes, though. Again, something about it is just profoundly satisfying, certainly comforting. So, in some form, the expression continues, always. It never stops. So, this is what is. There may or may not be readings in the near future. Everything is played by ear, as always. But there is a lot of just sitting, doing nothing, remaining still, remaining quiet, and that feels like the answer. That just feels like the most appropriate, the best feeling thing, to just sit alone in stillness. So I'm going to keep doing that. Even so, I know I'm never truly alone. None of us are. And if you are one who is witnessing, you have my deepest gratitude, my appreciation, and I am with you. Let us sit in this silence together. So it is.